Yesterday, Alex Jones, with his 3.5 million followers, posted, "Stop the Islamic takeover of the West." Now, what prompted such a post from Alex Jones? Well, he's quote tweeting this here, saying there are 85 Sharia courts in the UK. So here we see another American with a huge following pushing this propaganda that Islam is somehow taking over the West, specifically the UK. I don't know what it is, but recently these Americans have been obsessed with the UK. It's like we don't have enough problems in America. There's like we've solved all of our problems. We have nothing else to focus on. We're getting bored, frankly. So we're like, what's going on with the UK? And it seems like their problem is apparently Muslims taking over. They can't have Muslims taking over. If anybody is going to take over the UK, it has to be white Americans like Alex Jones, like Elon Musk. So there are 85 Sharia courts in the UK. Here we see this image here. Let's look at this here. Man, look at him. He's really looking hard at something on that paper. People like Alex Jones would probably have you think that he's reading something like, someone asked him, "My wife has the hiccups. Can I beat her to death?" Where it's far more likely he's being asked a question like, if I'm praying and I think I passed gas, but I'm not sure, what should I do? It's probably closer to that, but that wouldn't really fit the Islamic takeover of the West narrative that we have going here. Anyways, this has inspired me to start a new segment of the show called Ask ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT a few questions about this situation. Now, Alex Jones is an American. So if he is worried about Sharia courts, I would assume he should start with the Sharia courts in America. I wonder how many Sharia courts there are. ChatGPT, how many Sharia courts or Islamic courts are in America?
In the United States, there are no official Islamic courts. However, some states like Texas and New York have Islamic arbitration committees. These committees handle personal disputes among consenting Muslims, similar to Jewish arbitration panels. Their decisions can be enforceable in civil courts as long as they don't conflict with U.S. law.
All right, guys, you saw for yourself. I did not mention the Jews. I did not ask about the Jews. They brought it up. But since they brought it up and they said that there are no Islamic courts in America, let me ask ChatGPT, are there Jewish courts in America?
Yes, there are Jewish courts known as Beth Din in the United States. They handle a variety of matters, such as religious issues, family disputes, and business conflicts. Their decisions can also be enforced by civil courts if they comply with U.S. law. These courts are part of the Jewish community's long-standing tradition of resolving disputes according to Jewish law.
Well, I guess as long as they're Jewish, there's nothing to worry about, just as long as there's no Muslim courts. But considering how they describe these Jewish courts, I would assume that the Islamic courts in the UK are very similar. ChatGPT, what is the role of the Islamic courts in the UK?
Islamic courts, or Sharia councils in the UK, primarily deal with family matters such as marriage, divorce, and inheritance. They provide religious guidance and rulings based on Islamic law for those who voluntarily seek their services. These councils do not have legal authority, but their decisions can be recognized by civil courts if both parties agree.
Well, aren't these Islamic courts existing in the UK a sign that Muslims are taking over the West, as people like Alex Jones would presume?
No, the existence of Islamic courts in the UK is not a sign that Muslims are taking over. These courts, like other religious arbitration bodies, cater to specific community needs and operate within the framework of UK law. They offer voluntary services for resolving personal and family matters. Their presence reflects the UK's commitment to religious freedom and diversity, not a shift in societal control.
Wow, it's almost like Alex Jones and X in general is just spreading tons and tons and tons of fake news about Islam and Muslims, just fear mongering and creating a bunch of animosity. Not to mention, it seems like a bunch of Americans talking about the UK for some reason. Anyways, that does it for this video. Thank you guys. Oh, and one last thing before we go. When it comes to that question about if you're praying and you're unsure whether or not you broke your wudu by passing gas, there's a principle in Islam that certainty cannot be dispelled by uncertainty. So if you are certain that you made wudu, but you're uncertain whether or not you passed gas, then you're going to stick to that certainty until you are certain that you passed gas. There's actually a hadith about this. The Prophet ﷺ, he was asked about a person who imagined to have passed wind during the prayer. The Messenger of Allah replied, he should not leave his prayer unless he hears sound or smells something. And believe it or not, a lot of the legal questions about Islam have to do with things like this. Allah knows best. Thank you for watching. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.